Unit number 7, Current Challenges Facing the Indian Economy. Under this unit, there are 6 chapters. Poverty is the first chapter of this unit and the fourth chapter of the book Indian Economic Development. What we are going to read in this chapter are: who are the poor people? How are poor people identified? What causes poverty? And the different policies and the programs towards the poverty alleviation. Let us start the chapter. Poverty is not only a challenge for India, as more than 1/5 of the world's poor live in India alone, but also for the world where the 300 million people are not able to meet their basic needs. तो ये हमारे देश के लिए एक चैलेंज है जहाँ पे 1/5 पॉपुलेशन वर्ल्ड का खाली इंडिया में लाई करता है. सो इट इज़ वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज, वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट इकोनॉमिक चैलेंज फॉर आवर कंट्री. What is the meaning of poverty? Actually, poverty is a situation. It is a state in which an individual is not able to fulfill their basic necessities of life. उसकी जो minimum requirement है, what is the minimum requirement? A person to survive required food, clothing, housing, education and the health facility. Where a person is not able to fulfill this much of basic needs, then that situation is known as the poverty. Now the question arises, who are poor? There are two key terms or two key features are there to describe the poorest households. That is the starvation and the hunger. The poor lack basic literacy and skills, and they have a very limited economic opportunities. Poor people faces unstable employment. उनको सही रोज़गार नहीं मिलता है. As I say that employment is both the cause and the consequences of the poverty. A large section of the poor people do not have access to safe drinking water. They don't have a proper sanitation facility. The poor are highly vulnerable groups. They are having a very low negotiating power regarding their legal wages from the employers and are being exploited. जो गरीब होते हैं, their childrens are less likely to survive or to be born healthy. They may be in the rural area, they may be the landless farmers. In the urban areas, they may be the street cobblers, women who string flowers, vendors, beggars, etc. go in detail who are poor in urban and the rural area. In the urban area, largely the overflow of the rural people who had migrated to urban areas in search of alternative employment and livelihood. हम इसका उदाहरण देख सकते हैं जो प्रेजेंट सिचुएशन है ड्यूरिंग द पेंडेमिक ऑफ द कोविड-19. A large scale of migrants are moving from the urban area to the rural area. जो प्रवासी मजदूर हैं जो कि कभी ना कभी काम की तलाश में अर्बन एरिया में गए to have a better living, to have a better earning. Now, in this situation, again they are migrated towards their rural area, towards their villages in search of food because they are not getting the employment. So these are the basic uh, example of the urban unemployed or urban poverty. Apart from that, casual jobs, self-employed who sell a variety of things on the roadside and are engaged in the various activities, rickshaw puller, vendors, street cobblers. These are the most vulnerable groups in urban area. Let us discuss who are the poor in the rural area. As we know that the major portion of our population are in the rural area, but in compared to that the job opportunities are not there. There is a overburden on the agriculture. There is marginal or disguised unemployed. So the landless agricultural laborers, cultivators with a very small holdings, uh, the people who have lack of basic literacy, lack of skills, they have a very limited opportunities. In the rural area, the basic reason for the unemployment is they don't have other alternative job opportunities. These are the people who are poor in the rural area. Let us come to some of the characteristics of poor people. As we have discussed, the major characteristics of the poor people are hunger and starvation. In this current situation of COVID 19, these two features are very prominent. People nowadays who are migrant from the urban to the rural area because of this pandemic situation, they are come across with the hunger and starvation. उनको सही ढंग से खाना नहीं मिलता है. Now, the another feature or another characteristics of the poor people are the poor health. Since the poor people are not getting adequate food, they are malnutrition. They are suffering from lots of health problems. डेप्ट ट्रैप इज़ अगेन वन ऑफ द सिचुएशन. पैसों की कमी के कारण वो लोग उधार लेते हैं. जब उधार लेते हैं उसको वापस नहीं कर पाने के कारण दे ट्रैप्ड अंडर द डेप्थ. दे आर हैविंग अ वेरी वीक बार्गेनिंग पावर. उनकी बार्गेनिंग पावर बहुत वीक होती है बिकॉज दे नीड द जॉब. इफ़ दे बार्गेन मोर दे हैव अ फेयर कि उनको वो लॉस हो जाएगा, वो जॉब नहीं मिलेगा. एज अ रिजल्ट दे आर हैविंग अ वेरी वीक बार्गेनिंग पावर. They don't have the facility of electricity or the proper drinking water. There is a gender inequality in the poor people. Normally the male people, they are giving the privilege in the family. Identification on the basis of occupation. हम poor people को on the basis of the occupation we can identify. And a very important feature is the migration to the urban areas. ज़्यादातर से जो गांव के गरीब हैं वो अर्बन एरियाज़ में माइग्रेट होते हैं इन सर्च ऑफ अर्निंग, इन सर्च ऑफ education, in search of a better living. So these are some of the characteristics of the poor people. Now the question arises, how are poor people can be identified? अगर हम आज़ादी से पहले के दौर पे जाए, then the Dadabhai Naroji was the first person who discussed about the concept of the poverty line, and as a he called this as a jail cost of living. Under this, he analyzed the whole theory in the jail, where he came to a conclusion that only the adults stay in the jail, where in an actual society there are children too. He therefore appropriately adjusted this cost of living to arrive at the poverty line. He assumed that one third of the population consisted of children, and half of them consumed very little, while the other half consumed half of the adult diet. This is how he has given the theory of the poverty line. Next, in 1962, the Planning Commission formed a group to study the uh, poverty line after the independence. After 62, in 1979 also, a task force was formed. It is known as the Task Force on the Projection of Minimum Needs and Effective Consumption Demand. It was formed in 1979. Likewise, in 1989 and 2005, experts groups were constituted and they studied about the poverty line. This is a brief history that how the poverty line, what were the efforts taken to calculate the poverty line. Let us come to some of the categorization of poverty. Poverty can be categorized into three types. The first one is the chronic poor. Chronic poor is again divided into two parts. One, always poor, and second, usually poor. Always poor is a characteristics where the people are always stay below the poverty line. And in case of the usually poor, that means they are always lie below the poverty line, but sometime there may be a circumstances that they can come up above the poverty line. These two groups together as a chronic poor. The second uh, is the transient poor. Under the transient poor, there are two categorization. The first is the churning poor and another one is the occasionally poor. What we mean by the churning poor? They are regularly move in and out of the poverty line. Sometimes they are above the poverty line and sometimes they are below the poverty line. Frequently they are moving. For example, the small farmers or the seasonal farmers. When there is a favorable season, the farmers are above the poverty line. But if unfavorable season, if there is a drought or there is a circumstances of over rainfall, then they are below the poverty line. The second categorization under this is the occasionally poor. Occasionally poor means who are rich most of the time but may sometime have a patch of bad luck, and because of that they are occasionally comes under the poverty line. So these are both the two comes under the transient poverty. The third one is the non poor. Non poor means those people, as the term suggests, those people who are never poor and are never come under the poverty line. How to determine the poverty line? गरीबी रेखा का निर्धारण किस प्रकार किया जाए? गरीबी रेखा का निर्धारण करने के लिए बहुत सारे उपाय हैं, बट द वन ऑफ द मेथड इज मॉनेटरी वैल्यू or the monthly per capita expenditure. It is measured in terms of calorie intake. The per capita expenditure level, which means the average per capita daily requirement of 2400 calories in rural area and 2100 calorie in urban area, along with a minimum non-food expenditure, is called poverty line or absolute poverty. दैट मीन्स अगर गांव में किसी का एस्टिमेटेड कैलोरी इनटेक एक पर्सन का पर डे में अगर 2400 कैलोरी का है और शहर में अगर एक पर्सन का एक दिन में ऑन एन एवरेज वो अगर 2100 कैलोरी इनटेक कर पाता है तो वह अबव पॉवर्टी लाइन में कहलाता है. Now the question arises why there is a discrimination about the calorie intake in the rural area and in the urban area. Actually, in the rural area, the physical labor is more. That's why the calorie intake is more, that is 2400. In comparison, the urban area, the physical work is less, therefore the calorie intake is comparatively less, that is the 2100. And if a person is being able to consume this, that means he is or she is above the poverty line. Based on this, in 2011 and 12, the poverty line was defined for the rural areas as consumption worth rupees 816 per person a month, and for urban area it was rupees 1000 per person per month. अगर गांव में 2011 और 12 में पॉवर्टी लाइन को डिफाइन किया गया कि कोई एक पर्सन एक महीने में गांव में अगर वो 816 रुपये और शहरों में अगर वो 1000 रुपये की अर्निंग है, दैट मीन्स द पर्सन इज अबव द पॉवर्टी लाइन. Again, there is a difference between the amount between the rural area and the urban area. In the rural area, it is merely rupees 816, while in the urban areas, it is 1000. That means that is because in the urban area, the cost of living is more than as compared to the rural area. Therefore, there is a difference between the amount. So, in this way, the poverty line or the absolute poverty can be identified. Now, there are some of the limitations of using the monthly per capita expenditure as a proxy of income. First of all, by this method, if we calculate the poverty, then there is no difference between the very poor, always poor, usual poor. The mechanism groups all the poor together. Secondly, it takes into account the expenditure on the foods and a few selected items, and it ignores some of the essential factors like education, sanitation, facilities. So this is again one of the limitations of monthly per capita expenditure method for calculating the poverty line. Third, this mechanism does not take into consideration of the social factors such as the illiteracy, lack of health facility, economic freedom, social freedom. These accounts are not taken into account. So these are some of the limitations of the per capita expenditure. The number of poor in India. In order to understand the concept, we have a theory of head count ratio. What we mean by the head count ratio, when the number of poor is estimated as a proportion of people living below poverty line. It is known as the head count ratio. The official data on the poverty is made available to the public by the planning commission, और ये एस्टिमेट होता है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर. ये सारे डाटाज जो कलेक्ट करते हैं वो एनएसएसओ कलेक्ट करते हैं, दैट इज़ द नेशनल सैम्पल सर्वे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. According to these data, let us have a quick look on the present condition of India. अगर हम 1973 और 74 की बात करें तो हम ये पाएंगे कि 320 मिलियन पीपल थे जो कि बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन में थे. और अगर हम देखें 2011 और 12 में ये फिगर डाउन होके 270 मिलियन हो गया है. दैट मीन्स देर इज अ डाउन ऑफ 320 to 270 million people who are poor. If we talk about in terms of the proportion, so in 1973 the proportion was 55% of the population was below the poverty line, while in 2011 it has fallen to 22%. So in 1973 more than 80% of the poor resided in the rural area, and this situation has not changed even in 2011 and 12. This means more than 3/4 of poor in India still resides in villages. This is a very important data, that is 3/4 of the persons are still living in the rural area. And in 1990s, if we talk, the absolute number of poor in rural area had declined, whereas the absolute number of poor in the urban areas increased marginally. The gap between the absolute number of poor in rural and the urban area, little bit it declines, got reduced. Come about the state-wise comparison. If we compare the 6 states, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal and Odisha, contained a large section of poor in 1973 and 74. But after 73 to 74, if we compare the recent data of 2012, many Indian states reduced the poverty level a considerable extent. For example, now the West Bengal and Tamil Nadu reduce the poverty level much better than the other state, while some of the states, mainly the 4 states, are still far above the national poverty level: Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. So in this we have to really work very hard. After this, let us come or discuss the causes of the poverty. What are the different causes of the poverty? Because if we want to solve the problem of the poverty, we have to understand the causes of the poverty. The first cause of the poverty was the British rule in India. As we have seen in the first chapter, हमने पहले वाले चैप्टर में प्रायर टू द इंडिपेंडेंस हमारे पूरे इकोनॉमिक सिनेरियो के बारे में देखा. What we found there is the exploitation on the agriculture. That means the shift of agriculture from the very subsistence type of agriculture to the commercialized agriculture. During that period, there was a decline of the handicraft industry, a destroy of the indigenous industries. So these are some of the reasons. India began to export food grains. As a result, almost 26 million people died in famines between 1875 and 1900 because of the shortage of the food grains. As I told that India was transformed from subsistence agriculture to the commercial agriculture to feed the raw material to the Europe. So India at that time was merely just the exporter of the raw materials and formed a market for the finished goods of the Britain. So that was the exploitation, and it was the major reason and is the major reason for the poverty in India. The basic that foundation became weak. The next, which is again an important point, that is the economic condition of the farmer since independence and the present. As आई टोल्ड कि आज भी हमारे देश का मेजर पोर्शन जो है वो विलेज में है पॉपुलेशन का। और अभी हमने देखा कि विलेज में आज सबसे ज़्यादा गरीबी है, एंड द रीज़न वाई, बिकॉज देयर इज़ नो डेवलपमेंट ऑन द फार्मिंग। जो भी न्यू इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म्स आई हैं, the one of the major loopholes of that reforms is that the village area, the agriculture farming area is untouched. Apart from that, the over dependency on the monsoons, the fragmentation of the land holdings, lack of modern technology, lack of land with the poor farmers, these are the major reasons for the backwardness and major reason of the poverty and the state of indebtedness. बहुत ज़्यादा पैसे उधार लेने से there is reinforced poverty in the village areas. The third point is the high growth of population. The growth rate of population is again one of the reason of the poverty. India is one of the most densely populated country of the world. And as a result, whatever the plans and the programs and the policies are there, it is not reaching to the bottom, to the population as a whole. So the whatever the policies, whatever the resources are not meeting with the requirement of the population. So this is again one of the reason for the poverty. The third reason for the poverty, fourth reason for the poverty is the unemployment. Unemployment is both the cause and the consequences of the poverty. A large section of the urban poor in India are largely the overflow of the rural poor who migrate to urban areas in search of employment and a livelihood. इंडस्ट्रीज़ कई बार इन पॉपुलेशन को एब्जॉर्व नहीं कर पाता है, और एज अ रिज़ल्ट जो अर्बन पुअर हैं वो या तो बेरोज़गार रह जाते हैं या उनको कभी ना थोड़ा बहुत कैजुअल लेबर मिलता है. The casual laborers are among the most vulnerable in the society as they have no job security, they don't possess any assets, they have a limited skills, they have a scarce opportunity and no surplus to sustain them. So we can say that the unemployment is one of the closely related to the nature of poverty and the vice versa. The next one is the low level of capital formation. Because of the very low level of capital formation is the reason why the employment opportunities are not being able to generate, and it is again one of the reason for the poverty. Lack of infrastructure. Infrastructure, if we talk, both the economic infrastructure and the social infrastructure are required to remove the poverty. India has a problem of lack of infrastructure. So this is again one of the reason for the poverty. Inequality of income and wealth. The unequal distribution of income and wealth is also leads to the poverty in India. All this has created two distinct groups in society. One, those who possess the means of production and earns a good income, and those who have only their labor to trade for survive. So the gap between the rich and the poor leads to income inequality of the income and the wealth. And over the years, the gap between the rich and the poor in India has widened. The next is the general rise in the price level, that is the inflation. Inflation is again one of the reason of the poverty because of the steep rise of the food grains and the essential goods uh, is resulted the poverty. They are not been able to fulfill their requirement of food, clothing and the shelter and education at a rate the higher than the price of the luxurious goods, further intensified the hardship and the deprivation of the lower income groups. Apart from that, the poverty is also because of the lower level of education. Most of the people in India, they have a very lower level of education, the illiteracy, lack of skills, lack of knowledge, lack of training is the reason for the poverty. Another reason is the social factor. Under the social factor, there is some foundation regarding what job to do, what job not to do, not leaving the society. So these social uh, um, distractions are there and it causes the poverty. Next, the improper utilization of the resources. There are resources, but the distribution, the utilization, the maximum utilization, efficient utilization of resources are not being done. As we know that the economics is the study of gap, the gap between the limited resources and unlimited wants. So the gap, because of that gap, the problem of poverty arises. So if we use that minimum resources in a proper way, in an efficient way, there may be a possibility of removal of the uh, poverty. Measures to remove poverty. After knowing all the causes of the poverty, let us have a look on the measures to remove the poverty. The first way to remove the poverty is increasing the pace of economic growth. जो आर्थिक वृद्धि की दर है उसको इंक्रीज किया जाए. आर्थिक अगर वृद्धि होगी तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग इंक्रीज होगा, पीपल विल गेट एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंड हेंस द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ पॉवर्टी कैन बी सॉल्व्ड. Next, the reduction in the inequalities of income and the wealth. This is again one of the way to reduce the poverty, and government is doing the various things to remove the poverty, the remove inequalities between the income and the wealth. How the government is doing? The first way, by the fiscal measures. The fiscal measures are all those measures which are related with the government taxation, government income and government expenditure. So to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor people, government imposes taxes on the heavy income groups, on the luxurious items, and it is redistributed among the poor people on the way of providing education, free education, better health facilities, housing facilities, and various plans and the programs. And by some of the legislative measures, the government कई बार नियम और कानून लागू किया जाता है ताकि गरीबों को सुरक्षित किया जाए, और इस तरीके से इनइक्वलिटीज़ जो है वो बिटवीन द रिच एंड द पुअर उसको कम किया जा सकता है. Another way to remove the poverty is the control over the population. अगर पॉपुलेशन को कंट्रोल किया जाए तो जो हमारे पास प्रॉब्लम है दैट इज़ अनलिमिटेड वांट्स, उसको कंट्रोल किया जाएगा, एंड दिस इज़ अगेन वन ऑफ द वे टू control the poverty. Some of the other reasons that government can do measures for the agricultural development, कंट्रोल ओवर द इन्फ्लेशन को कंट्रोल कर दिया जाए, गवर्नमेंट ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी, सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटी द गवर्नमेंट कैन जनरेट, मिनिमम नीड्स प्रोग्राम्स फॉर द पुअर पीपल, रीजनल बैलेंस ग्रोथ। जैसे कि हमने देखा 4 राज्यों में जहां आज भी नेशनल लेवल के पॉवर्टी से कम है, सो द गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एंड द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट टेक एडुकेट स्टेप्स फॉर द बैलेंस्ड रीजनल ग्रोथ, development of the industry so that the people can be absorbed under the industries. The public distribution system should be strengthened so that the benefit of the PDS will be taken by most of the people, and of course the provision of the social security so that the people can have a dignity life, the poor people can also live with a dignity, self dignity. Let us see what are the different policies and the programs towards the poverty alleviation. The Indian Constitution and the 5-year plans state social justice as the primary objective of the developmental strategies of the government. पहले 5 ईयर प्लान और दूसरे 5 ईयर प्लान में सोशल जस्टिस को बहुत ज़्यादा वेट दिया गया। एक कोटेशन है, मैं फर्स्ट 5 ईयर प्लान जो कि 1951 एंड 56 में लागू किया गया था, उसमें दिया है, द अर्ज to bring economic and social change under present condition comes from the fact of the poverty and inequalities in India in income, wealth and opportunity. And in the second 5-year plan, it is said the benefit of the economic development must accrue more and more to the relatively less privileged classes of the society. So there was the strategy of the development under the first and the second 5-year plan for the socially less privileged class of the society. The whole government approach is three-dimensional approach. The government approach to the poverty reduction was three dimension. The first was the growth oriented approach. What we mean by the growth oriented approach? The first approach to reduce the poverty is the growth oriented approach. That means अगर हम growth करते हैं, if there is a rapid increase in the GDP and the per capita income, then it would spread to the all section of the society and will trickle down to the poor section also. As I said, that this was the major focus of the planning in the 1950s and the early 1960s. So in this way, it was felt that the rapid industrialization and the transformation of the agriculture through the Green Revolution in the select regions would benefit the underdeveloped regions and the more backward regions of the community. This was the growth oriented approach. Critical evaluation of growth oriented approach. The overall growth and the growth of the agriculture and the industry have not been impressive. जितना सोचा गया था उतना ग्रोथ नहीं हो पाया. सेकेंडली, पॉपुलेशन का ग्रोथ बहुत ज़्यादा था एंड एज अ रिजल्ट वेरी लो ग्रोथ इन पर कैपिटा इनकम. थर्ड, the gap between the poor and the rich has actually widened. The Green Revolution, जहाँ पे ये सोचा गया था कि ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन से स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनल फार्मर्स को बेनिफिट होगा, लेकिन उसके जगह द डिस्पैरिटी बिटवीन द रिच एंड द पुअर हैज़ वाइडन एंड द रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी ऑल्सो इंक्रीज्ड. The economist states that the benefit of the economic growth have not trickled down to the poor. These are some of the critical evaluation of the growth oriented approach. Come to the second dimension of poverty alleviation program, that is poverty alleviation program and employment generation programs. One of the noted programs initiated in 1970s was Food for Work. Most of the poverty alleviation programs implemented are based on the perspective of the 5-year planning. Expanding self employment programs and the wage employment programs are being considered as the major way of addressing poverty. Let us discuss some of the poverty alleviation program. The first is the Rural Employment Generation Program. This program aims at creating self-employment opportunities in rural area. इसका मुख्य उद्देश्य था कि ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में लोगों को सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट प्रोवाइड किया जाए. The Khadi and the Village Industries Commission is implementing it. And इस प्रोग्राम के तहत फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस दिया जा रहा था बैंक के द्वारा, ताकि छोटे से छोटा उद्योग सेटअप कर सके गाँव में. So in this way, by providing the employment in the rural area or encouraging the entrepreneurship, the poverty can be reduced. सेकेंड जो प्रोग्राम हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, दैट इज़ द प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स रोजगार योजना. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर रोजगार योजना PMRY. The educated unemployed from the low income families in the rural and urban areas can get financial help to set up any kind of enterprises that generates employment under PMRY. इसमें फाइनेंशियल हेल्प दिया जा रहा था जो एजुकेटेड यूथ्स हैं, अनएम्प्लॉयड यूथ्स हैं, लो इनकम फैमिलीज़ के, ताकि वो अपना खुद का एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, खुद का एंटरप्राइज, खुद एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप हो और खुद का एंटरप्राइज वो सेटअप कर सके. द थर्ड वन इज स्वर्ण जयंती सहारी रोजगार योजना. Under the Swarn Jayanti Sahari Rozgar Yojana, its aims at creating employment opportunity, both self-employment and the wage employment. Either वो self-employment हो या wage employment हो, इसको एम था कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा employment opportunity create किया जा सके in the urban area. The next one is the Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana. Under the Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana SGSY, major initiative has taken for the self-help group. Initially, they are encouraged to save some money and lend money among themselves as small loans. Later, through banks, the government provides partial financial assistance to the small help group, which then decide whom the loan is to be given for the self-employment. स्वर्ण जयंती ग्राम स्वरोजगार योजना में सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप को बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस दिया गया, असिस्ट किया गया. एंड इसका और एक जो इसके अंदर में प्रोग्राम था, विच इज़ अगेन रिकन्स्ट्रक्टेड, इज़ नेशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट लाइवलीहुड मिशन, NRLM. It is also a similar program, and इसमें भी लोगों को असिस्ट किया गया to form the self-help group. And another mission which is known as the National Urban Livelihood Mission, it is for the urban area. एक रूरल एरिया के लिए, एक अर्बन एरिया के लिए ये मिशंस लॉन्च किए गए. The next one is the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005. Actually, in August 2005, the Parliament passed a new act which is known as the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which provides guaranteed wage employment to every rural household whose adult volunteer is to do unskilled manual work फॉर मिनिमम 100 days इन अ ईयर. 100 दिनों के लिए उनको एक जॉब एश्योरेंस दिया गया अनस्किल्ड मैनुअल वर्क के लिए. Under this act, all those who are poor, who are ready to work at the minimum wage level, can report in the areas जहाँ पे कि ये प्रोग्राम इम्प्लीमेंट किया गया. 2013 और 14 में लगभग 15 करोड़ हाउस होल्ड को इसके तहत जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ प्रोवाइड किया गया. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द poverty alleviation programs. Let us discuss the third approach. Among the three-dimensional approach, the third approach was providing minimum basic amenities through public expenditure. The third approach is addressing poverty is to provide minimum basic amenities to the people through public expenditure on social consumption needs. What are those? Provision of food grains at the subsidized rate, education, health, water supply, sanitation. Program under this approach are expected to supplement the consumption of the poor and create employment opportunities and bring about improvement in the health and education. Health and education में इस इम्प्रूव करने के लिए ये मिनिमम नीड्स प्रोग्राम्स बनाए गए. ये प्रोग्राम जो था ये 5th 5-year प्लान में इसको सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस मिला. इसके तहत 3 मेजर प्रोग्राम्स आए. वो कौन कौन से थे? PDS पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम, इंटीग्रेटेड चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट स्कीम्स एंड द मिड डे मील स्कीम्स. ये 3 अप्रोचेस इसमें थे. अब इसमें आगे जाके और भी कई सारे योजनाएं आए, जैसे प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना, प्रधानमंत्री ग्रामोदय योजना, वाल्मीकि अंबेडकर आवास योजना. ये सारे अटेम्प्ट लिए गए ताकि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और हाउसिंग फैसिलिटीज़ मिले. और द गवर्नमेंट हैज़ अ वेराइटी ऑफ सोशल सिक्योरिटी प्रोग्राम्स भी इसके अंदर में आए, जैसे कि नेशनल सोशल असिस्टेंस प्रोग्राम, जो कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट द्वारा इसको इनिशिएट किया गया. और इसके तहत जितने भी एल्डरली लोग हैं उनका केयर किया जाता है, उनको पेंशन प्रोवाइड किया जाता है. पुअर वुमेन्स हु आर पुअर वुमेन्स और द विडोज ऑल्सो कवर्ड अंडर द स्कीम ऑफ नेशनल सोशल असिस्टेंस प्रोग्राम. The government has also introduced many programs for providing a good health for the poor people. Likewise, in 2014, a scheme came, that is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. It is available in which people in India are encouraged to open bank account. Besides promoting the saving habit, these schemes also give the subsidies to the account holders directly. Now each bank account holder is also entitled to rupees 1 lakh accident insurance and rupees 30,000 life insurance cover इसके तहत किए गए. So these all programs comes under the social security, so that for a better living can be given to the poor people. Let us discuss, let us evaluate the poverty alleviation programs. Let us discuss some of the achievements. What are the different achievements of the poverty alleviation programs? Brought down the BPL from the below poverty line 37.2% in 2004 to 5 to about 28% in 2011 and 12. That is a good achievement, but not the best one. Next is the wage rate have increased due to the legislative measures. लेजिस्लेटिव मेजर लिया गया जिससे कि वेज रेट इंक्रीज हो गया. थ्री डायमेंशनल अप्रोच जो भी हमने अपनाया उसके तहत सोशल सिक्योरिटी आई, लोगों का पॉवर्टी लेवल काफ़ी कम हुआ. बट देयर आर सम ऑफ द शॉर्ट कमिंग्स ऑफ पॉवर्टी एलिवेशन प्रोग्राम्स. The first one is the despite of these strategies and the programs, the hunger, malnutrition, illiteracy, lack of basic amenities are continue to be a common feature in many parts of India. Government policies fail to address the vast majority of the vulnerable groups. आज भी जो भी vulnerable groups है वो आज भी वैसे ही बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन के में रहते हैं. And the basic reason for that is the unequal distribution of land and the assets. Due to unequal distribution of land and the other assets, the benefit from the direct poverty alleviation programs have been appropriated by non-poor. The next is the compared to the magnitude of the poverty, programs was not sufficient. इतना ज़्यादा पॉवर्टी था कि उसके कंपेटिवली प्रोग्राम्स जो भी लाए गए वो सही ढंग से सबके पास नहीं पहुंचा था. दिस प्रोग्राम्स आर डिपेंड्स ऑन द गवर्नमेंट एंड द बैंक्स. ये गवर्नमेंट और बैंक के पे बहुत ज़्यादा डिपेंड था. Apart from that, inefficient use and wastage of resources, inefficient resources are the major reasons why the non-participation of the local level institution in the programs and implementation. But overall, we can say a few measures we can take to tackle the problem of the poverty is the poor can actively participate. There should be a social mobilization. Now what we mean by the social mobilization is it is encouraging the poor people to participate and get them empowered. This will help the employment opportunity, which leads to increase in the level of skill, health and the literacy, and providing them the infrastructure, good schools, road, power dam, telecom, IT, training institute should be there. So in this way the poverty elevation programs can be made successful. So overall we can say that in India the absolute number of poor in the country has gone down, and some of the states have less proportion of poor than even the national average. But yet we have to do a lot, we have a lot to do for the reduction of the poverty, and for that we have to take the steps. Thank you.